Okay.
Hello. Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you
Hello,
for
everybody.
joining us. It is our 10th buyer webinar here at Summit Real Estate, and we are so excited about that. And we are so excited about the special guests that are joining us today for our 10th webinar topic, which is how can I break even on my second home or investment property? It's a question that as real estate brokers we get asked all the time. Can I make money? What are my options? What do I need to look at from the financing perspective and the rental perspective? So that's what we're going to talk about today. Are you able to break even? Cash flow, offset costs. We're going to be discussing all of those things today. Feel free to direct message us or put in the comments your name and contact info so we can keep you posted on what's happening with the Summit County real estate market. And then at the end of this webinar, we're going to be doing a drawing for a $40 Amazon gift card. Or if you're local and you would like a local gift card, we would love to do that also. But you don't have to be local, so that's why we went with Amazon. My name is Keely Gray with Summit Real Estate, and my team members will introduce themselves.
Hi there, I'm Trisha Moore.
Hi, I'm Dina Hepner.
Hi there, I'm Isabel Rawson.
Hi, ladies. Thank you for joining us today. And our special, very, very special guests, Jennifer Cleary with BOK Financial Mortgage. Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, you are a mortgage banker, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And Mary Waldman and Ann Brooks with Summit Mountain Rentals. Thank you, ladies, for joining us.
All right, thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, we look forward to chatting with you today about all things real estate and lending and renting. Fun topics. So first, we're going to take a look at a specific property. Dina.
Yeah, our featured property list price is $699. It is currently under contract right now. Just a note. It's a 2-bedroom, 2-bath, Lake Forest condo. It's located in Frisco, just right across the street from Lake Dillon. It has beautiful Lake Dillon views. And you can walk across the street to the walking path or bike path, and that will take you anywhere in Frisco, the marina, Main Street, whatnot, in just a minute. The property HOA dues are $446 a month. That's all inclusive gas and heat, except for gas and electric. Annual taxes are $859.30. There is a 1% transfer tax due at closing. This is a one-time fee negotiable between buyer and seller. It comes fully furnished. It has a washer and dryer in the units, and the complex itself offers hot tubs. It is also very close to the Summit stage. And that is everything about the property.
Jen, are you okay with starting us off? We're curious,
Sure.
What about this property do you see right off the bat? When we send these MLS sheets over to you and we say, here it is, this is what our buyers are interested in, what stands out to you?
And that's what I want to see, because I need to know what the HOA dues are, if there is a transfer tax, what the taxes are, because all that gets factored into the qualifying ratio to help the buyer, afford the property. And I usually start off the conversation by asking them if it's going to be a second home for them or if it's going to be their primary residence, because that'll help determine down payment requirements and the interest rate. So, for example, if the second homeowner put 20% down, that would be a loan amount of $559,200. The interest rate today would be 3%, and the total payment would be right around $3,000, $2,991 a month. Now, if they put 25% down, the interest rate is reduced by 1/4, so it'll go down to 2 3/4, and the total payment would be $2,774. So putting that extra 5% down really helps with the payment and the interest rate.
I didn't know that extra 5% from 20 to 25 can make such a big difference. Does every incremental 5% change the interest rate, or how does that work?
That's a good question. No, it does not always go in increments of 5. The next huge break in interest rate is if you put 40% down, and that would lower your rate to 2 5/8. So it'll just be an 1/8 less, but you would have to put a lot more money down at 40% down.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And Jen, did you already mention this? So that was on a condo only, correct?
Correct. Single family homes, the interest rate may be a little bit lower because there is a slight adjustment for the condominium factor.
Okay.
Is one or the other easier or harder to lend on?
I wouldn't say it's harder or easier. There's more documentation required for a condominium. For example, we have to get a HOA questionnaire filled out by the HOA. That does increase the closing costs a little bit because that fee is anywhere from $75 to $300 depending on what HOA manages the property. On a single family home, obviously, we don't have to get that. We do look at the budget, review the income and everything, that the reserves that the HOA has. So there's more review and documentation that we look at in a condo. But I'd say 80% of my business is condominiums, so we're just completely used to looking at all that paperwork.
It's just par for the course up here.
Daily life, yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And I was going to say, Jen, Jennifer recently assisted me with the purchase of my primary home. And so it was kind of interesting with COVID happening this year, the documentation that was required. Do you want to share a little bit about what that has looked like or what changes you may have seen with what's required for your buyers?
Absolutely. COVID has changed the way that we analyze or look at income. The good old days, we used to just look at the tax return, W-2s. But now for self-employed borrowers, we are having to look at their year-to-date income. So we're asking for a 2020 P&L. We're also asking for 3 months of business bank statements to show deposits and activity going into the account. And then we're also analyzing the line of work that you're in. If you are a realtor, that's been great because everybody's been really busy right now. But, unfortunately, if you're a waitress, you don't have that tip income coming in. So we do have to look and see if the 2020 income is in line with the 2019 income that was reported on the tax returns. W-2 clients are a little bit easier because their income is typically, pretty steady. But again, they may have been furloughed in March and April. So we have to verify that they are back to work full time now. So COVID has definitely changed the way that we look at income.
Well, I know I was super appreciative of having you guide me through everything.
More paperwork.
Okay, what else from the lending perspective? Did you have a question, Isabel?
No, I don't. Sorry. Yeah.
There's a couple other little things that we look at in condominiums. We don't want to see a lot of commercial space in the building. We don't want to see anything with like a front desk. We like to stay away from the properties that seem to be managed like a hotel. So most of our condos up here are warrantable and eligible for conventional financing, but there are a handful that fall into that condo-tel category, and that does make it ineligible for conforming financing.
And that is why we recommend a local lender, because you guys know exactly which complexes this might follow under, the condo-tel might fall under.
Right off the bat.
Exactly. We know which ones we can and cannot do.
Right.
Or if they're going to have a first right of refusal, or if they're going to have, any sort of hiccup that we might run into. It's just lovely to know that these complexes like the back of your hand.
Yes, I do. And we know which ones are in litigation, so we know which ones are having issues with the HOA that could be a problem with lending. So it definitely does benefit you to work with somebody who's familiar with some kind of properties.
For sure. For sure. Isabel.
Great. So now that we've kind of chatted about the finances, let's see if we could offset some of these expenses with some rental potential. Mary and Ann, can you give us some insight into that?
Absolutely. Thanks for this opportunity to be part of your webinar. I think it's very cool to choose the product and to go into these specifics. So Ann and I are part of the business development team at Summit Mountain Rentals. We are Summit County's vacation rental experts with premier properties in Frisco and Breckenridge. I think that we prepared a rental projection flyer here that we will review with you.
Yeah, and we do spend a lot of time speaking with buyers about the vacation rental market up here, which properties are good rentals, and all that goes into making a rental successful. And we have the top of our rental projection right here, and it kind of shows the booking trends and the most popular configurations in Breckenridge and Frisco. Currently, the most popular configuration for rentals is a 2-bedroom and 2-bathroom. And we try and educate the buyers who come to us about when to expect income. We really say it's a very seasonal market up here. So you expect about 75 to 80% of your income in winter. And that's really from Thanksgiving until ski season's over, about mid-April. And then really about 20-25% in the summer. So it's very seasonal. And we do have a chart on there that shows the booking trends, occupancy trends as well. We also like to educate buyers on what really drives rental demand. We say there's 3 factors. First is location, so anything close to Main Street, close to the ski slopes, on a bus route, really make a rental appealing. The second thing is occupancy. So depending on where you're buying, each area has a different occupancy restrictions. For Frisco, you are allowed to sleep 2 people per bedroom plus an additional 4. So if you purchase a 2-bedroom property, you are allowed to sleep up to 8 people in that condo. And we really recommend maximizing that occupancy just because it brings you up in more online searches. You're just more visible to renters looking for properties. And then the third thing that really drives rental demand is how nice it is, the amenities. So this property has a great view of the lake. It's got shared hot tubs. And if property's photographed well, that's also a big draw for renters.
So let's talk specific to this property. The Lake Forest 2-bedroom, 2-bath. It's a beautiful building. It is the last construction complex before you proceed on that Dillon Dam Road into Lake, over to Dam Road. But it just underwent a beautiful exterior remodel. It looks very modern. The HOA did a fabulous job. And so this particular buyer doesn't have to deal with any of the assessments. We actually was approached by a buyer yesterday who is under contract for this, so it was very timely. As Ann mentioned, 2-bedroom, 2-bath is the most popular configuration in a condominium. It's just an easy starter, entry level for a second home owner. Not a lot to manage exterior, having a well-run HOA. And 2-bedroom is very ideal for families. We are a very family-driven destination here in Summit County. So typically for a 2-bedroom, you'll have a one large family or potentially 2 small families sharing here in the mountains. So we had projected $30,000 gross rental income for this property. That dollar amount is actually the raw rent that we would be splitting with the homeowner. The guest will pay the extra taxes, that's the Frisco town taxes and the state taxes, and any lodging taxes. We collect all that and take care of it and process it for you, and plus the cleaning fee. What's so beautiful about this property is that it has great bones. Again, location, 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 as Ann mentioned. The views of Lake Dillon is amazing. Being able to get up in the morning and watch the sunrise come over the lake, I mean, I think that would be priceless. We currently manage 4 other properties in Lake Forest Condo, so very familiar with how the rental demand is driven on this particular location, because everything really is dependent on location and occupancy, and have a very good rental history. I would also like to say that, with COVID, a lot of people are looking for some place to escape, and having a second home with an amazing view, I think, is a huge benefit as a future investment.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So, Mary, I have a question. As Jen mentioned earlier, putting down different percentages for your down payment, 20 versus 25%. Say a client wants to save that extra chunk and put it into the unit. Is there anything that could potentially increase rentability on this property or generate more income if they were to fix up the inside?
That's a very good question, and we see this quite a bit now. I know that the inventory is quite low, but at the same time, a lot of properties that are coming up, quite frankly, I think that the property can use a little bit of an uplift in terms of furnishings, the kitchens, and the bathrooms, the fireplace. They are all original. The flooring is very nice. That is a definite upgrade from the originals that, believe me, we've been in this condo for 15 years, complex. So a lot of different varying degrees of quality. So a buyer, and it really is a personal choice. We say that, make the place as your own private home, and whatever you enjoy, the guests will also appreciate. So, when we come to a buyer, they always want to make some changes, to make it their own. So it could be as simple as just changing out the bedding in a property, could actually give it a huge uplift. Just cosmetic changes, pictures, just painting, without having to go into the huge investment of remodeling the bathroom, which can be quite prohibitive. But as Isabel mentioned, it can be, again, a trade-off. Do I put more down to reduce my monthly outlay, or would I save that dollars and put into a potential remodel of a property so that I can make it to the condition that I would want? So we manage a lot of properties, over 50 properties here in Frisco, and almost 200 in Breckenridge, in all various range of quality. And we've seen in the gig economy, and especially I think with COVID, people feel privileged to having to take a vacation, and they want to stay in a nice place. So given all things being equal in the same complex, if you have a 2-bedroom, 2-bath that has been remodeled, updated, new furnishings, people are willing to pay an extra $50 a night or $100 a night. So you will recoup whatever amount that you may reinvest into the property in a potential rental income. Plus, you get to enjoy it when you're here, because it's exactly how you would like to use it.
Very good point. Very good point.
Mm-hmm.
Jennifer, speaking of saving money, putting it towards the down payment or potentially putting it towards reinvesting in the property, you're able to kind of help do some financial planning in a sort of way. Like your cash that you have will be best used towards the down payment, or maybe you should pay down the student loan or pay this off. Regardless, don't go out and buy a new vehicle or a bunch of furniture before we close.
Absolutely. No, once I see the whole picture, we can go over all sorts of different ideas, because that student loan interest rate may be really high, like a lot of them are. So if they've got the cash, it might benefit them to pay off that student loan. So definitely we can go over different options, what is best to do with their cash. Mm-hmm.
Great. I think that's a huge advantage of having a relationship with your lender, is really just getting to the bottom and the nitty-gritty of what your goals are, not just with this property, but your whole real estate portfolio and your future. So it's nice that you can be a part of that and help really guide people in the right direction.
Absolutely. It's part of my job.
Yeah. So Mary and Ann, going back to the rental projections on this particular property, what are the management fees? What does that look like for your services?
Yep, absolutely. We are a premier property management service. We are not a low-cost national chain that you might come across in this competitive market. We've been voted the best property management company 11th times out of the last 12 years. Thank you. Because we have invested in the infrastructure. Property management is all about details. You need eyes on the property, feet on the ground, and as my husband likes to say, technology can't unclog a toilet. You need to answer that call overnight, toilet flooding, clogging, anything you can imagine happening in your home, it will happen, and more so because these are strangers coming into a brand new property that they don't know. So if you imagine, hey, you have friends and family come visit you who don't know your property every weekend, well, things happen. But this is why you need a reliable and professional local partner. And I'm happy to say that 99% of the buyers that Ann and I speak to these days, they feel strongly about working with a local agent. Certainly, it's their job to know what everything that is out there to make the best informed decision. So they will come across national companies and bigger corporations. But at the same time, their personal motivations, I would rather pay a little bit more to work with a local company and get the type of service that I need, and really for that peace of mind, because many of our homeowners are 2,000 miles away, right? Or even farther, international homeowners. So we have over 35 full-time staff that answers phones 24/7, on-call maintenance, field engineers, inspections after every departure. We take care of the trash, any projects you might want to deal with, and of course, dedicated marketing team to get that extra, or eke out is what I say, that extra 10-15% out of your own rental property. Our management fee ranges from 20 to 40%. In this particular case, in Frisco with a lake view, we would say it would be 35%, so that if we were to gross $30,000 rent, and that does assume that it is available to us 365 days. While there is no owner restrictions, owner has the first right. This is your property. You use the dates that you want to use any time of the year. But on those dates that are open to us, then we have no idea what your plans are. So it may fluctuate from year over year, season to season. So our projection is based on assuming it's available. And then if we were to rent it 365 days and all available, then your net is just around $20,000 after management fee.
Good, thank you. What does the range, 20% to 40%, what does that, tell us more about that?
Well, good question. Well, it depends on a lot of factors. Okay. The rental projection, certainly the ability for a property to generate, what kind of income can I expect? We also take into consideration how much owner use. We do have many homeowners from the sunny states, Florida, Texas, Arizona. They don't want to be there in the summertime, and they would rather spend July, August, September right here, so that we would use that rental available dates. But at the same time, as Ann mentioned, we are primarily still a winter destination. About 75 to 80% of our income is earned in the wintertime. So owner wants to use it in the summertime, retired or kids on vacation, no problem at all. So that range, again, is potential of the property, the owner use. And I think it also goes to, we are a very personal business. This is why we're here in front of you. We know every single homeowner is very personally in that we know what their needs are. And we customize our management proposal based on, hey, my primary interest is in income. My primary interest, actually, I would like to have some income to set off expenses, but I'm more concerned that, hey, I'm too far away. I'm about to spend $700,000 on this condo. Costs more than my own house, in Ohio. And I would like someone to be available to keep an eye on it. And that peace of mind, I would say, is a very common balance they would like to do. Hey, I want someone to take care of my house, but I also want to earn some income. That balanced with, hey, I also need to use it, right? This is not a rental income property for financial purposes. So all that put into play is how we come up with a reasonable management fee we feel to be competitive, allows us to be successful, but also addressing what the homeowner needs.
Fantastic, thank you. How has COVID changed things in the lending world, Jennifer?
Really, just like I mentioned before, just about the income. Self-employment, self-employed borrowers were having to just get a lot more documentation to document that their income is steady compared to what it was in 2019.
Okay.
And unfortunately, some people have struggled this year and their income has not been where it was in 2019, and it's just not. During COVID, we didn't have to do any of that. We just looked at the tax returns. So it's definitely changed the way we look at it.
Okay. And from a property management perspective, go ahead, Trish.
Oh no, I was just going to say a lot of impacts, but I was kind of curious about the kind of buyers that you're seeing, Jen, versus, I know you work, would you say you work primarily with second homeowners, or?
I do, but dynamics are changing for sure. People are moving to Summit County now because their offices in New York or San Francisco, wherever, are closing, and their management is telling them that they can work from home. So they're getting out of the hustle bustle of the city and they're moving to the mountains. So I'm definitely doing more owner-occupied type loans than I typically do. And they're young people. I want to say they're early 30s, late 20s that are moving here and purchasing a first home. They're first-time home buyers. A lot of them are, and they're just working from home. It's different.
And I'm sure it's not just home buyers. I'm sure it's also renters as well that are flocking to the mountains, getting away from the cities. Are you ladies seeing that as well?
Yeah, no, absolutely. We've really seen a trend in longer stays, which is kind of the things, especially this summer and fall have been the busiest we've had in a while as far as rentals. People, I think we have called a pent-up demand for travel. So they're tired of being stuck at home. So since they can work remotely or their kids are in school remotely, they're staying up here for longer extended periods.
Right. We're also seeing owners who have invested in these second homes to also spend more time here than they would have normally have done. And because you're only earning about 20-25% income in the summertime, it's completely worthwhile for them to get away from their cities. And the ability to have a second home that they can escape to when they want to is a huge. So these are intangible benefits that I know that it's difficult when a buyer is just looking at the dollars and cents. But there's a lot of emotional and personal satisfaction of coming and having a second home here. So I strongly encourage it. And if you want to offset expenses, to rent it.
So a whole team here, key players in your real estate portfolio, right? Hopefully we always start with Jen Cleary in the lending perspective, pre-qualified, knowing what you can afford is huge. And then looking at properties with us at Summit Real Estate and just learning about the different areas and what your money can buy. Do you want a single family home? Do you want a condominium complex that's lock and leave, but maybe you have higher dues? That's how we come in to play with this process and the decisions that are made. And sometimes we find that buyers, if the rental aspect is very important to them, then we'll have them call Mary and Ann before they make an offer on a property. Sure. That's their area of expertise, and we're happy to point people in the right direction. And it truly is teamwork. right?
Yeah. When you come into play may vary, but we sure are happy that you're part of our team, because it is a lot of pieces to the puzzle. And when someone comes to us with what do you think? Is this going to work? It's like, well, we might need to map some things out, and we have some great people that can help us do that.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Definitely.
So yeah, thank you, ladies, for being with us today.
Thank you.
Thank you. It was a pleasure. It was very fun.
Yeah.
Good. Good. Our goal here with these webinars is just to provide valuable information and let people know that we're here to help, and we're happy to help. We love what we do, and I think Jen, Mary, and Ann, it's obvious that you love what you do as well, and have fun doing it, right?
Absolutely.
Let's go do it.
Yes, right. So we will attach some of the rental information from Summit Mountain Rentals. That indicated, a slide that I showed earlier indicated what the most popular property types are: the 2-bedroom, 2-bath. What the restrictions are as far as short-term rentals go in each area, and how many people you can sleep in a particular property, things like that, right? We'll get you that information. And don't forget to DM or comment with your contact info and be entered into the drawing to win a $40 gift card. If you're local, we will make it to the local destination of your choice, because we always want to support local. And all of us here are local organizations.
Thank you.
We'll also share all of their information as well. So
Right. Absolutely.
Okay.
Wonderful. Thank you, ladies, so much for your time and your information and your good energy. And let it snow, right?
Let it snow. Take care.
Thank
have a great day.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Thanks.